Hello, what's happening? It's Jed. Hello. Just want to let you know before we start our episode with Cerys Davage, unfortunately during our chat we had a slight technical difficulty with our mics. And by technical difficulties I mean I forgot to press record. So sorry about that. So the mics aren't sounding as good as they usually are, but don't worry, you can still enjoy our lovely, fun, insightful chat with Cerys Davage now.
Proud to be your first female and disabled.
Oh,
ticking all the boxes.
Ticking boxes here. Joking.
No such thing as View when we were kids.
No.
I say when we were kids, I'm only 26.
I know
Acting like I'm a child. Oh, you wouldn't remember that.
I know, yeah. I
Back in my day, this was all fields. How did you find it? Because, like, obviously, working with me and him, clowns.
It is tough sometimes.
I can imagine.
Every family gathering now, she's like, oh, I may have to ask you to whip out the heart.
Whip
like
it
it's
out.
just.
It's not like you can whip out the heart.
I know,
like,
hang on, let me get it in my pocket.
People in minutes, they're like, what is this big guitar?
You know what? That's my guitar.
Point of the podcast here, that not all disabilities are visible.
Yeah. Watch me get up now. I'll struggle. And
then you see.
And I took the phone back and I noticed Limb Girdle Muscular Dystrophy on there, and I thought I'd never seen that before. So I asked my mum, and she was like, "Oh, I guess it's time to tell you." So many times I've been in the lift and someone else is in there too, and I just press floor 1, and they're like, "God, you're taking the lift up 1 floor? How lazy is that?"
Right there.
Wow, what's happening?
What's happening?
Right, nice to see you. How's things?
I do, good,
Fancy
thanks.
seeing you.
Nice to see you. You as well.
Oh,
Whoa. Welcome to episode 4.
Oh,
of
nice
How's
ring to
Your
it.
Man podcast with me, Jed.
And me, Jacob.
Sound. Can you see, boys? We're in a different little
It
location.
probably doesn't look
here.
different to them, but it's different to us.
Where's the lights going?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so we are in the theatre. Not
In Theatr Soar.
In Theatr Soar, but in the actual theatre.
Yeah, and I think
today.
this might be our new location.
Might
It's a
be.
bigger space.
Bigger space.
We've got this lovely little backdrop behind us, which we don't have to set up ourselves.
No, it's just already you.
And, you know, it's just great.
It's
Absolutely great. But yeah, let's get into it then.
Yeah, let's get into it. We've got a great episode lined up for you today.
We have got a great episode lined up for you as well.
We've got a guest coming on shortly.
Don't say anything.
We won't say nothing.
Don't say anything. But we'll start off with the question that we always begin, which is the point of this podcast.
Yeah.
How's your mum, Jed?
How's your mum? Tracy's all right, actually. This morning, it's funny. It's a nice day today, and she was. I woke up. She was downstairs in the dressing room. She's like, Dad, asked my father to get the lawnmower out to the garage. So she, as I left, she was mowing the lawn in her dressing
Well
gown.
done.
In her dressing gown. I thought it was pretty funny. Like.
Nice. Someone's got to do it. And no
Someone
one else
has
is
got
gonna
to
do it in the
do
house,
it.
apparently.
Someone has got to do it. And it's funny, this morning when we woke up, my mother was on her phone. My father just got up and I got up not long after him. I made a coffee. He made a cup of tea. And I got on my phone scrolling like, I know. And my father's going, look at the both of you, he said. Look at you. You got glued to those bloody things. Glued to them. I was like, you want to bloody talk.
I
right?
know, innit?
As soon as he puts it down, sees you go, look at you. Look
I
there.
know.
But he's on it all the time.
My father does exactly the same.
That's his
exactly the same.
Fathers are all the bloody same.
I feel like we just end up talking about our fathers.
I know.
All the time.
But like, they come as a package, don't they?
Of course they do.
Mothers and fathers.
Not always.
Not always.
Not always.
But
Not
ours
always.
do.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's pretty good at the moment. But yeah,
So she seems pretty relaxed mowing the lawn.
yeah, she's pretty relaxed actually. She's a relaxing week.
Yeah.
She's been doing all right.
Rob's home now, isn't he?
Rob's home.
Rob's home.
Well, Rob was home. She weren't pretty happy with him when he got home because he was bad because he'd been drinking and all that nonsense.
I thought you were
So
gonna
she
say 'cause
was getting
tapping
annoyed.
with the tell him what I
No.
I thought you were going to say
She
that.
was. He come home and then he was like, well, he was on the phone to her going, I'm not drinking ever again. And then he come home on the Friday and it was his friend's funeral, but he stayed out till 2 o'clock in the morning again. Then
Rob.
what a nut that is.
Rob.
So he's on the good books with
he's
her
in the
because
doghouse.
he's like bad and complaining, but
It's his own doing.
it's his own fault.
Well, there we are then.
And I said to him, because this is what he said to me when I come back from rugby tour and I cut my nose, you're getting too old for this, and that's what I said to him when he come home.
Well done,
Rob,
Jed.
you're getting
well
too
done,
old for
bud.
this, but
Well done. Good on you. Good on you.
yeah. So yeah, other than that, they're all pretty good. How's your mum?
Yeah, good. So obviously I've been lending her car and stuff like that. So she's had her car back now.
Tidy.
And yeah, literally, it's William's birthday this weekend. So we're gonna do something nice for his birthday. We're going away to the caravan. So she's been alright. She's been alright. Yeah, she's been pretty busy. It's been her mother's birthday, my nan's birthday, so she's been out with my nan. Yeah, so she's been out with her nan. And yeah, speaking about fathers, I brought a little present.
Oh yeah, you did mention. So we're not going to do we haven't brought something in ourselves this
So I've
week.
told Jed that don't bring anything to the podcast today. I'm going to bring something. Basically,
I'm so excited.
my father has bought us something. He texted me the other day, right? And he said, let's move the teapot a minute.
Yeah, what do we?
He said, when you doing the podcast next then? And at the time I didn't know. I was like, I don't know why. And he said, I bought you a little something. I was like,
A little chumpy.
right, okay. Can you tell me what it is? No. I was like, oh, come on, you can tell me. No. I was like, all right. And he mentioned a couple of weeks ago, he mentioned something, he was like, oh, so have we got any sponsors then? And I was like, no, yeah, we have, like, but, you know, and he was like, oh, so, you know, can I sponsor you? And I was like, yeah, of course you can. So you got to, you know, you can't just say, you got to, like, you know, invest in it, like, do you know what I mean? You know, Warmer Glaze have done their bit, you know, so we're providing us with a space. You've got to do something. I'm not going to just plug your business, like, for nothing, like. And he was like, oh, right, okay. And I didn't know anything about this. He just texted me about it. So I thought it'd be quite cool if we opened it together on the podcast. And it says, to Jake and Jed, from Lloyd.
Kiss.
Kiss.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Thanks,
Kiss
Lloyd.
back to you, Zed.
Yeah. You have to give him a kiss when you see him. So I don't know. Do you want to do the honours?
Oh, I don't know, but how long have we got?
I don't know. As long as this takes, apparently. Oh, I got this side. Have you got it?
I got this side. You just did that. I did nothing.
Just watch me. Right, go on then. You open that side, look.
Oh my God, it's like Christmas.
Oh.
Are these what I think they are?
I don't know.
They're mugs. I knew they were.
Did you think, oh, what? He bought... Oh, it's got names on it.
I know.
You've got mine.
Jed and Jacob, Lloyd's driving school.
So have we got to do a plug now?
So this is, so what a legend. Lloyd's driving school, which is Jacob's father's driving school.
It's a driving school. There's number on it as well, like, so people are just going to be prank phone calling him all the time.
So there's his sponsor. They're going to be there all the time.
Is ours going to be it?
Like, look.
Look at that. Are we actually going to use them? I don't know.
We'll have to now.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's kind of forced our hand, isn't he?
This one, I think I sling it.
Yeah.
Oh, there's tea in it.
Oh, no!
Oh, sugar.
Well, there's no sugar in it.
No, I know.
But, fair play, Lloyd.
Thank you, Lloyd.
Well done, Bat.
Looks
that was a good one. That's a good one.
Tidy.
Jake and Jed.
Jake and Jed.
They would have preferred Jacob.
Yeah. I know. You haven't even got a keg in your name.
I know, innit? But fair play. That was a nice little surprise. Sound.
Happy
So
days.
now we've got another sponsor apparently.
Yeah. But I think we're not going to use these because we've already got some tea
Oh, look.
in these. Oh yeah.
My new mug.
Nice.
It's not a new mug. I just bought a different one. Rick and Morty.
I bought you that.
Jed did buy me this.
For your birthday.
Yeah. We are.
Seeing as we've got some tea in these already, I'm going to put these and save it for next week.
Save for next time.
But we've got a guest. And let's get her on. Our first female guest is a friend of ours that we've worked with before. She is a fellow podcaster.
Yeah.
She has a very interesting life and stories to tell. She's in the creative. She's a harpist as well. And just an all-round lovely, lovely person. Please welcome to the podcast,
Cerys Davage.
And Cerys Davage is with us.
Way!
Hooray! Cerys, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. I can't believe I'm the first female interview.
Yes.
Yes, you are.
Very important.
Our second guest. It's a pleasure to have you on here.
Yeah.
We're really excited. I think there's some great stuff we can talk about on you with you. I'm really excited. I know we've got a different setup here at the moment. But first of all, we start every podcast with a simple question. It's the clue's in the title.
The clue is in the title, if you haven't noticed already, everybody.
How's your mum?
My mum is very well, thank you. She is a primary school teacher, so she is buzzing to be finishing school.
Yeah.
For the summer.
Is she?
Yeah, so excited.
Is it like that bad for teachers? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. Growing up, I looked at my mum and I was like, teaching sounds so cool and I really want to be a teacher. And then I got to the point where my mum was able to be more comfortable because we were like adults or whatever, and she's like proper stressed. But she is that kind of person anyway. Like, she loves pre-planning. She loves like working in the evenings and stuff. Like, my dad is ready for bed by like 8-9 p.m. and my mum gets a second wave of like procrastination. She's like doing like Tesco grocery shops, like marking books, like doing lesson plans for like 3 months time or something. She loves to like pre-plan. Yeah. So it'll be good for her now to just like not do that. So now I don't like the idea of teaching.
No, I don't like that idea either, to be honest. It seems like a stressful
I go into a lot of schools with my job. Not just going to a lot of schools.
Go into schools.
I go into a lot of schools with my job, and like I've dabbled with the thought of like TAing and stuff like that. I don't know, being in a school for a couple of hours is enough for me.
Yeah, like I love the idea of like, you know, interacting with the children and like teaching them something, but there's just this added stress and like knowing that you can work outside of school as well. Like, you have loads of marking to do and planning.
Yeah, I know. Because we mentioned that about acting, like as in like when you get home, you're like, thinking about when your next job is coming. But I suppose teaching's a bit like that as well, isn't it?
Yeah, you
like,
don't stop.
You get home and you're like, right, I've got to do this, got to plan for tomorrow, got to do it. I don't know, it seems quite similar in that way.
Yeah, definitely, I think so.
But next year she's teaching this new like
the phone's going.
Phones are going. Is it my phone?
No, if you were in this class now, the teacher would take the phone off you.
I know.
And chuck it in the drawer. They go, no, you'll have that at the end of the day.
Don't do that anymore. Kids have.
I should know better, shouldn't I?
You should. Your mum's a teacher.
I know, yeah. And I podcast as well. So we'll get to
she wanted to throw a spanner in the works.
Yeah, we will get to that. And like we said, there's so much to talk about, Cerys, right? And we know each other. Me, us three. We worked together for a while. And we'll get into that in a minute. But I know you, but I don't know you very well. Because from the outside, I feel like your life is completely like such a different experience to mine and Jacob's.
Yeah.
From your upbringing, where you're from. First of all, though, you've got a mug, haven't you?
I have.
Oh,
you brought a mug.
Well, I'm a loyal fan.
Yeah.
So I know to kind of match your aesthetic here.
You know what? I respect that so much.
And do you know what? I'm dying for a cup of tea, Jake. I'm absolutely dry here.
Actually, do you want to do it? Because I don't think you've done it once yet. And the teapot is closer to you, actually.
Yeah.
Go on, you sort it out.
While I sort it, Cerys, if you talk about growing up in Cardiff then, because that's what I think is a big difference between our upbringing in the big... It's not right in the city centre, is it?
Well, no. So I was brought up in Whitchurch, which is kind of 10-15 minutes from the city centre. But that's what I love about Cardiff. Everything is about 10 to 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so convenient. Like, everything is so close. I live like right round the corner from my primary school. I love the sound of the tea pouring.
You should put it right next to the mic.
ASMR. But yeah, I don't know. I love growing up in the city.
Yeah, that's a big difference where everything's so at your fingertips, kind of, isn't it? Like whatever you want is kind of there. Where it's different from us. I know it's not like we live in like a cave or something like where there's no electricity. But yeah, I suppose that's a big difference where we'd have to drive quite far to go to like a cinema. Well, I would anyway.
Well, I don't. There's one in Merthyr.
All right, bud.
Wouldn't you go to Merthyr cinema?
Yeah. Well, before View was quite relative. When I was young, it was like Swansea. I'd have to go.
There was no such thing as View when we were kids.
No.
I say when we were kids. I'm only 26.
I know.
Acting like I'm a child. Oh, you wouldn't remember that.
I know. Yeah.
Back in my day, this was all fields. Cerys, I want to talk about your bit of your career because you're creative, aren't you? You're a podcaster, like we mentioned. You're a digital creator. You're a play the harp.
I am a play the harp.
You are a play the harp.
I'm a
harpist.
I would say musician
musician. Then that's
my girlfriend plays.
That's you call people who play music, Jacob. Do you know that?
You are.
That's what you call people who play music. Do
You
know
just said play the harp.
Yeah, I know.
And I said harpist.
But I went around
Try and teach me,
like
son.
2 different corners trying to figure out what the word
I know,
was.
yeah.
and
I
it's
just went
musician.
straight for what it was.
I want to know, where does that come from then? Is your family sort of creative as well? Because you've got 2 sisters, have you?
Yeah, 2 sisters.
Are they all creative as well, like yourself?
Yeah, definitely. So both my parents are musical. My dad has come from a very musical family.
Love it.
He grew up playing the piano and was like teaching piano from like quite young. He taught me piano when I was growing up and my sisters, and then I don't know what it was with my parents, but they wanted me and my sisters to learn a second instrument as well, because piano, everyone could play the piano.
That's too easy.
Yeah.
No, I can't. I'd love to.
Yeah,
I can't do it.
Well, I'm doing lessons now, so we'll be in touch after.
Lovely, great.
But yeah, I don't know. I did violin for a year, and then I was awful with that. And I feel like if you don't get it straight away, it just sounds awful when you're practicing.
Yeah.
The violin is like screechy and horrible.
I can imagine you were like that.
Exactly like that. That's exactly how it sounded. So my mum was like, enough.
In the house.
We need
like,
to find something you're actually good at. So I was stuck between flute and harp for a while.
The flute.
And so I did a bit of trial lessons, and I was in year 4, and my friends in class were like, yeah, but if you play the harp, you can breathe whenever you want. I was like, sold.
Oh, yeah.
I'm playing the harp.
who are these friends? That's
So, yeah.
genius.
I know.
Yeah. You wouldn't think of that, would you?
Yeah.
Which is good, because
I played a
got to
bit
look
of
after these ones.
yeah. I played a bit of tenor horn.
Did you?
Yeah, I did grade 1.
What's that?
Tenor horn. Sure. What's that?
I feel like I'm in school.
It's like a big. It's not quite a tuba. It's like a in between a trumpet and a tuba. It's like a horn. It's big.
I've known
the
you for
teacher
8 years and I've never known this.
No, I know. All my friends, so there's like 4 of us in primary school, they were like, oh, right, who's going to... Like, they were picking people who wants to play an instrument, and we were all like, oh, yeah, let's play the trumpet because it's cool. They give me the big horn. I was the only one with a horn. I was gutted. I was like, what the hell? I felt like a right, twat. Like, they had all like tidy, nice trumpets, and I had this big horn. I was like, miss, why have you picked me? Oh, because you've got the biggest lips. I was like, oh, sound.
That is so...
Is that a good thing? Yeah,
I know. But I was good at
weird
it.
coming from a teacher.
I know. What did he say?
You've got some
I-
lovely
I-
lips,
yeah.
I kept walking around school like this then.
That's a kid who plays the horn.
Look at him, big lips there. All right, so that's cool. So your sisters play instruments as well?
Yeah, so Cardi plays the flute, so that's good. Someone in my family plays flute.
Oh, good.
And
Represented.
Becca, my younger sister, plays the harp as well.
Yeah.
So we've done a lot of like little ensembles and stuff together.
Jamming in the house, like.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. Just like a band, but it's like so Welsh, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
Welsh
Can you
folk.
jam with the harp? Then you can
jam with anything.
Yeah.
Can you jam with anything? I don't know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I
Like,
can't play anything, so.
me and Cardi, the flautist, likes to...
The what?
The flautist.
That's what a flutist is
player.
called.
A flautist.
That's-
But it sounds like floating.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm
But that's
picturing
like-
someone floating in a pool,
Yeah.
like, I'm a flautist. I
Yeah,
don't know why.
exactly like that.
Do you always get asked to, like, in like family gatherings
It's
to get
definitely...
up,
Yeah.
get like, Caddy with the yes flute, John Ron Burgundy. Have you seen that anthem?
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm not prepared. He pulls out of his sleeve then.
Yeah, that is us. Yeah, my
yeah.
auntie, like, she knows that we love playing anyway, but we played at her wedding actually, and every family gathering now, she's like, oh, I may have to ask you to whip out the harp.
Whip
like
it
it's
out.
just
It's not like you can
it's just
whip
something
out the
I
I
harp.
can't
know.
like-
with
Hang
me.
on, let me get it in my pocket.
I actually have it in my boot at all times, just in case someone asks me to whip it. No.
So is it?
Yeah, I know.
I was going to say that, and I was like, I didn't see it.
I would leave it outside in Merthyr, but
I
there.
got to be honest. People in Merthyr, like, what's this big guitar?
You know what? That's my the guitar.
It's a funny looking
It's a
guitar.
funny looking guitar.
Talk about bringing out instruments in like family gatherings. I did that for my mother once in Christmas because she had a bit too much to drink. And she burnt the gravy. So she's like, Jag, go get a guitar.
She beat the gravy, so she asked you to play a song.
Yeah, to entertain people because she had to like sort it all out.
I love that she's using you to cover up her mistakes.
Yeah, genuine.
I thought you were gonna say
"Jen,
the other way round then."
Bring out the clown jester. Come
Yeah.
on. Then they come down with my bells, huh?
Bethan's mother's the same, but she always asks her and her sister to sing
Yeah.
everywhere. Like, we'll go somewhere for Christmas and we'll all be, and have a to sing. There you go. Go on, and they want to sing it.
As creatives, like performing monkeys, me, you know what I mean?
I'm not, because I can't play anything.
No, except for you.
Jake, monologue.
Yeah, you could do like probably stand up or something and be like, oh Jake, just entertain them for a bit.
I wouldn't know what to do,
So,
honestly.
this Christmas dinner, shit.
yeah. So where you all from?
So how's your mum?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can start going into that. Maybe a bit of a stand-up about it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, shameless plug then for the pod.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm onto something there, I think.
We worked together a few years ago.
Yeah.
Only recently, we stopped really. And you were a ymchwilydd yn Cymraeg, which is a researcher on a YouTube channel we do for S4C.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about that much on you.
Well, I loved working with you, but you were more than just a researcher. It felt a bit like you were like a producer as well.
Well, yeah, so my title was Digital Content Coordinator. So
oh, right, sorry.
Coordinator kind of like just does a bit of everything, I feel.
Yeah.
But it was a really good job to go straight from uni. Like, I went for the interview during my exams and they were like, when do you finish? We want you to start like the day after your exams.
Whoa.
So I hadn't even graduated and I had to like move back to Cardiff straight away. I went to Aberdeen Uni, by the way.
Aberdeen.
Yeah, so I was really lucky to get that job and yeah, I just loved it and you guys were great to work with as well.
Yeah, I was gonna. How did you find it? Because like obviously, working with me and him, clowns.
It is tough sometimes.
I can imagine.
The headaches I used to have.
I do feel like that sometimes when we're working on set, we can go off on one a bit.
But did you feel like, because obviously I think all of the creators were a bit older than you as well. Is there any of that feeling like, oh, does it feel weird?
Yeah, I mean, I worked with people that had already been in the industry for a few
Yeah, that's
years.
right, yeah.
Yeah, so I did feel like, obviously I felt like a newbie and I was picking things up quickly, but everyone was really nice and everyone was kind of like in their 20s, maybe like bordering 30, so it wasn't like, it didn't feel like I was working with like old people, you know? Like,
No.
Who didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah, I just felt like it was a really good way to transition from being a student like straight into adulthood basically. I did feel like a bit like I was being plunged into the deep end, but maybe that's for the best because that's like the quickest way I learned. And
definitely.
I like almost straight away was given like creative freedom to like think of ideas and like a part of my job was to like think of ideas or content for you guys to film.
Yeah. I do imagine after we work together with different people, I imagine them sometimes getting home and going, oh, I had a hell of a day today. These two boys were just chatting so much nonsense. I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah, I think if the first time we're not so bad on like Zoom calls and stuff. But like in person, I feel like I just feel like people are a bit like, where the fuck do they find these people? Like, you know, way like back and beyond. Like,
Cerys, we really want to talk about your podcast and the message behind it. Before we get into that, talk to me a bit about what the podcast is about and how that came about, because obviously you had a sort of life-changing sort of news and experience with a condition, chronic illness, would you call it that?
Yeah, like, well, I wouldn't say chronic illness because I feel like there's a lot of chronic illnesses that are very different, but we do have some similarities, but I'd say just like a disability, a condition, muscle condition, I'd say. Because
if anyone was watching now, would be looking at you, no one would ever think that you have some sort of condition or disability at all, would they? Which is kind of your point of the podcast, that not all disabilities are visible. Yeah. Watch me get up now, I'll struggle. And then you see. So I've got limb girdle muscular dystrophy, which is a bit of a mouthful. But I was diagnosed when I was 7, so I was really young, but I wasn't showing any symptoms then. It's a muscle wasting condition, which basically means that your muscles just get weaker over time. I'm not scientific at all. I'm trying to like pick it up as I go along. But it's something to do with like the muscle enzymes like leaking or something. So as you get older, your muscles just kind of deteriorate and there's no way to stop that basically. It sounds a bit morbid, but like growing up kind of, well, especially recently, I found a lot more in the community, so I don't feel as much alone. But growing up and being in high school and things, I was the only person that felt different and the only person that's like I thought was struggling basically. When I was about 12, like going from primary school into high school, I struggled like keeping up with my peers and like I was always the slowest in like sports days and stuff. I just thought I wasn't cut out for athletics, which is fine because I was musical, so I was like it's either sports or music, but
you can show that you could do both.
I could do both. Yeah, but did you like you said, did you fully understand it at the time? Like you said, oh, I'm just not cut out for it, you thought?
No, so when I was diagnosed, my parents actually didn't tell me because I wasn't affected by it, and my parents just didn't want to worry me. Also, I was a bit of a hypochondriac at that age, so if they told me, I would have been like, I can definitely feel something.
No way.
I'm not feeling too well today, Mum. I'm not going to come in.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a smart move on my mum's part. But then when I was 12, actually, the way I found out, I think we were going to like Llangrannog or something, and the school had handed out medical forms and stuff like that. And I took the form back and I noticed Limb Girdle Muscular Dystrophy on there, and I thought I'd never seen that before. So I asked my mum then, and she was like, oh, I guess it's time to tell you. Because I always knew that there was something different, because I was like really weak, and I always had to go to Great Ormond Street in London just for like physios every year, just to kind of monitor it, and I didn't really know why.
No.
So then my parents like fully told me, but I was so young at that point, I don't think I understood like the full effect it'll have on my future.
No, of course not.
So it wasn't a massive shock. I think I can't imagine what my parents felt getting that news, basically, that I'm going to probably end up in a wheelchair like full time when I'm older. But now that I'm like learning more about it, I'm trying not to focus too much on the future, because like anyone can worry about the future.
God, anything can happen, to anybody at any time.
I talk about that a lot. It's about living in the present, isn't it? Because
exactly.
like a lot of people, I was speaking with my brother-in-law yesterday actually about it, and he's kind of a guy who never really appreciates the time. He's always thinking about tomorrow, always thinking about the next day, always thinking about the next day. And he's like, I need to slow down and think about it, because like things can just, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, do you?
Exactly, yeah, I could get hit by a bus before I'm in a wheelchair anyway,
exactly.
No, you are completely right.
So growing up, I didn't know anyone else, and like even now, I don't see a lot of people my age actually being open about like different conditions and things. And I love talking, if you didn't know. I've always been interested in like radio stuff. I did a radio training course when I was in sixth form with Radio Platform in the Millennium Centre. Who I've still got a really good relationship with now. That's where I record a lot of my podcasts.
Lovely.
And even like starting Popty with you guys, and then I moved on to research with Stunch with you. I was watching the presenters and I was like, this is what I want to do. Like, I really want to just do some presenting. Like, I've worked behind the scenes. It's time for me to like do something myself. And podcasts are a big thing right now. I love listening to podcasts. But I wanted to start one, but I was like, no one's going to be interested if I just chat about my life. Like, I was like, I need a kind of point. But I didn't want the whole thing to be about like my disability. So I was like, I don't want people to label me like that. No. But it has kind of turned that way, because I know that there's a gap in the market for that. And like as soon as I started talking about it a bit more, like everyone was just so supportive, and that was kind of my way of like coming out as disabled in a way, because
I never thought of it in that way.
In school, people just didn't know. Like looking at me, you wouldn't know, and like my closest friends knew, but they didn't really know the full extent of it.
Well, I didn't know when I first met you at all, and I honestly didn't have a clue. And then someone mentioned it, I was like, what? And I did. You just wouldn't think, and then obviously, I don't know, once you start talking to you and you learn about it, you're like, all right, I can understand now. But a lot of disabilities aren't visible. I worked with a woman, a fantastic actress called Steph Back, and she's a deaf actress. And she, the first time I met her, no one told me that she was deaf. And I went into this rehearsal room with her, and she can speak, like, as in she chooses when or not to voice, because she's BSL user. And it's her choice if she wants to voice. But when she does voice, it's really clear and perfect, and like you would never just say. And she's really good at lip reading as well. So I was having a conversation with her, and I was like, something's a little bit off here, but I didn't know this for ages. And then someone told me, I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And
is she in Taking Flight?
Yes.
That's what it was.
Oh, she's amazing.
She's amazing.
I did a full show with her, and like
Fow, was it?
Fow, yeah. I did a full show with her, and like just like. She baffed me. I actually said to her once, I was like, sometimes I don't believe you're deaf. I said. And she's like, I am. Yes, I am. And I remember once, I never really spoke to a deaf person before, and I was trying to explain something to her, and she really loves that you're trying your hardest, because I didn't know any sign, so I was being really animated, trying to like get my point across, and she really loved that. But then after that, I got to a point, I was like, don't worry about it. And she was like, do you want me to punch you in the face? She's like, don't ever say that to me, because that's like you're giving up. Like, you're not bothered to tell me. Like, she'd rather you act like a clown in front of me and like try my
Right.
best, not like patronising, like, can you, not like that.
Yeah.
But like, you're trying your best to communicate, do you know what I mean?
But I think that's the society we live in at the minute, and I'm a big, especially, and I'm talking about everything now. Like, there's got to be room to make mistakes all the time, and and I think this is one of the main things that we talked about with the podcast as well.
Aye.
Getting people on, learning about anything and everything that we can.
Yeah,
and like
definitely.
you said, so, and I don't mind people calling me out if I get something wrong.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And
I'd rather someone ask me than to just
Absolutely.
ignore it, because it is a part of me, you know.
Definitely. I'm sure there is room for like, not room, there's times for comedy as well. Is there any sort of like funny moments? Because like I said, when I realised that Steph was deaf, I found myself starting to act a bit differently. I was like, I just don't know what to do, like, do you know what I mean? And I don't know, have you had any sort of funny experiences like that when someone finds out that you've got a disability and then they're like,
Definitely, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
really?
So I've had many times like on the street where people come up to me, because with my disability, my right knee turns in a bit, and I think it's to do with my inner muscles being too weak, so my outer muscles like compensate for it.
Yeah.
So like I do walk a bit wonky. So sometimes you can't.
Sorry, that word wonky makes me laugh. I don't know why. I got a friend called Wonky, see. Yeah. That's his nickname.
I won't ask why.
That's not a Cardiff thing at all. Like, I love, like, that's a thing from where you guys are from, isn't it? Like,
Wonky.
like
Nicknames?
funny nicknames.
Oh
like
my
that.
God, so
not
many
just
nicknames.
wonky, yeah.
Yeah, that's a difference with Cardiff, because they don't really get it there, do you? But
No.
literally, it's weird to call some of my friends by their actual name.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people, like, I don't think they know my first name. I just get called Oakley all the time. Like.
And I think with, like, West Wales, I think, and maybe North Wales as well, is people go off, like, first and middle names. They never go off, like...
Yeah, no.
So I'm Cerys Mai, so in the rest of Wales, I'd be Cerys Mai, but I'm never known by that.
No.
I would be Cerys Davage.
Oh, Jed's not his
Actually,
real
Cerys
name.
Davage, because people keep mispronouncing my surname.
I said that
You
before,
keep
didn't
thinking
I?
it's Davage. Oh,
No, I don't think it
At
is.
the beginning,
but
I did. At the beginning,
But
I
people
thought
call
it
me
was.
that as a joke, but I don't know if they actually call me that as a joke.
Do you
So
mind it, or do you mind it, or do you
I'm
like?
honestly...
It sounds
I
quite
like
extra, doesn't it? Cerys
sounds-
Davage.
Yeah.
It sounds French, like
It
Cerys
sounds-
Davage.
yeah, it does.
Is it French? Davage?
No, I don't think so.
Davage is.
But when I go, when I go to
Davage.
France, yeah.
It sounds
when
like
I go to
a-
France, it'll be
Yeah, you
Sounds
could
like
do
a
that,
French
okay.
sort of like perfume brand or something, doesn't it?
Sauvage.
Well, you're a bit
by
of an
Yeah.
imposter now. Jed's not your
Cerys
first
Davage.
name.
What?
Jed's not your first name.
No, Finley.
Anyway, sorry, I
Get-
just
get into
realised we went back
Anyway.
to where we're from. Yes, so my disability is sometimes visible, sometimes invisible. So when it's visible, I get people on the street coming up to me like, oh, are you okay? Like, have you twisted your ankle? Have you broken your leg? And I'm like, oh, no, I just have a disability. And they're like, oh, sorry, carry on. I'm like, yeah, well.
Carry on.
As you
Yeah, because like obviously they're doing it out of like offering to help, you know, and they're not being like rude. They're going out of their way to go up to a stranger to help them. The funny thing is sometimes I fall with my disability. Like I could be anywhere. I could be on the street and I just fall. So people would come up to me and like offer help, but my knees aren't strong enough to like, if I held someone's hand to push myself up, like that's not possible. So I have to be like, sorry, no, I have to like push myself
routine,
up off the
like...
floor. Yeah, I've got my own specific way of getting up. So that's funny. But then,
That's hilarious.
that's hilarious, yeah. Got like scratches all up and down my leg, yes. So funny. But then when my disability is invisible, like I would rather take a lift up one floor than take the stairs, because me and stairs don't go very well together. So many times I've been in the lift and someone else is in there too, and I just press floor 1 and they're like, God, you're taking the lift up one floor? How lazy is that? And I've had that a couple of times and I'm just like, you know, I'm used to it now. I'm just like, oh no, I have a disability. And they're like, oh, sorry.
Oh my
But
God.
do you know that
terrible.
though? Sometimes that pops into my head. You know, like when thoughts come into your
Yeah.
head, you don't actually say that.
But you don't say it, no.
No, like sometimes I'm in a hotel and you get like, you see some guy waiting for the lift for ages, you're like, and he gets off on floor 1 and I'm like, oh, man, what are you doing? Like, but then listening to that, you don't know whether that guy might have a disability.
It
So
could be
I
for
mean,
anything.
Yeah.
that's why you don't say it.
Exactly.
That's why intrusive thoughts stay in your head.
Yeah, that guy just had to say something, yeah.
I know.
But that's the thing, like, people are so easy to judge and to think like,
Yeah.
well, if I can do it, then you can. But actually, everyone's different. And
Exactly.
Don't be
Yeah.
judgmental, be curious. That's what I say.
So,
That's the new
why
title
are you
for
getting
this.
Yeah,
off?
why are you getting off at floor one then?
No,
Why?
sit
I'm
down. Let me
curious.
sit down. I want to talk to you about it.
I'm just curious, like pure intentions, but I want to know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
because we've been listening to your podcast,
Thank
and I started listening to it backwards. I was like,
Yeah.
I went from, because you've done a lot, you've done like 28 episodes.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Are you, is that in the top 1% or something
That's
like
the
that?
top 1%,
apparently?
apparently.
If you get over 25 episodes?
21
21
Top 1% of what?
podcasters.
of podcasters.
As in, like,
apparently, if
people
you get
quit,
past 21
apparently.
episodes.
Oh, really?
Someone
Yeah.
told me that the other day.
I'm determined. I'm pushing through.
Yeah,
No,
so-
but I started listening to them
Congratulations.
backwards. Like I went from 28 and then 20. I was like, well, hang on, let me go from the
That's
start.
the thing. It's not like the first episode introduces me, but then the rest is like.
Yeah, whatever.
No, yeah, and I think that's what I needed. I think like going back to the start. That was a Coldplay reference. Going back to the start.
He's obsessed.
And then obviously getting to know you and more about your disability. And you said that your sisters have got this disability as well.
Yeah.
The same, because there's different types, you said, isn't it?
Yeah. So I've got type 2I. Well done.
Yeah.
Jacob's
He's
done
a
his...
fan. He's a
Jacob's
I
fan.
am
done
a
his
fan. Like, I've
research.
been listening.
Jacob's the researcher.
I'm the researcher, yeah, of this podcast.
Roles reversed now. I'm the podcaster. You're the.
Yeah.
I got a fucking enough to do, but
I know, you have got enough to do.
Joking.
He's everything else. Yeah, so they have 2I as well, and it's a genetic thing. So both my parents are carriers of the gene, but it doesn't affect them.
Wow.
So I just got both the bad genes, and so did my sisters. So it's really rare that the three of us all have it, but
That's
it
mad.
affects them really differently. So Cardi, my middle sister, she like can push herself a bit more, but then she gets pain, whereas I'm too weak to even push myself. Basically.
Really?
And then Becca, my youngest one, she gets a bit more like fatigue. She gets tired quicker, but she also has a very small social battery, which is very different to me because I can I thrive off talking to people, whereas Becca can have a conversation, then she needs to lie down. She's really good. We're all quite active. I try and keep myself as active as I can because that's the best way to maintain the condition.
Right.
How do you find?
We all do it in different ways. Yeah.
Do you lift weights and stuff? Is that?
Yeah, mate.
Can't you tell?
Look at these.
Look at those guns.
Jazz got nothing on me.
No, I mean, is that something? Is this
I'll do a serious answer now.
Yeah, this is a serious podcast, guys, actually. So
Yeah, so I get regular physio.
yeah.
So I do go to physio a lot. Swimming is the best thing, every physio would say. Swimming is, because it's non-resistant and you're just in the water, so it supports your weight. It's the best way to keep your cardio, your muscles going. So I still try and keep that going, but I also love going to the gym, but it's very different to other people going to the gym. And at first you might think everyone's going to judge me because I can't lift as much as other people, or I used to be able to run on the treadmill. In sixth form I'd go to the gym to go for a run, and I used to go for runs outside, but now I can't anymore, so that's something I kind of grieve a bit, but I've just learnt to do gym in a different way.
Yeah.
So I need to find a good balance.
Hey,
There we are.
It's called unbalance.
That's in plan, that did.
Exactly, yeah.
She's been holding that in all week.
Yeah, I've been practicing.
In the mirror, it's balance.
It's all about finding balance.
It's balance.
I say that in every episode, and I hate it. It's so cliche, but it's the perfect title for the podcast.
Do you acknowledge it every time you go, woo?
I try.
She's off camera again.
No,
Wait.
my interviewees love it because they're I'm just trying to find a balance. Oh, unbalanced, and I'm I haven't heard that one before.
She said it.
Because coming back to the fact that your sisters have got it, you said it's a very rare condition, and not that I've got a connection with it, but Bethan's grandmother had
Really?
muscular dystrophy, but she passed away before Bethan was even born, so this is 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, literally that far. And
Back in the day.
literally that far back in the
Here we go.
So I think at the time she was one of the only people in the UK to have the condition.
Whoa.
And she would go to the hospital and she'd go to the doctors or whatever. And I think you mentioned it in your podcast as well, that when she would go to the hospital and they'd say, have you got any conditions or disabilities or anything like that? And she'd say, I got muscular dystrophy. And they'd be like, what's that? Like nurses and then they'd have to go through this rigmarole of explaining what it is, and they'd be like, oh, didn't know what that is. Anyway, and it's like brushed under the carpet kind of thing. But then obviously, what's so important about your podcast and obviously everything you're doing is raising awareness about it.
Yeah.
Like, and I when you said the Sisters ad as well, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Like.
It is nice that, I mean, it's not nice that they have it, obviously. And it's the same goes for, like, anyone who listens and can relate. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad you can relate. I mean, I'm not glad that you have it, but, like, it's just nice to go through the same thing with someone you're close with.
There's a sense of community with people. You know, you all kind of come together, and your podcast is great for that. Listening to it, you know, you're getting people on who have not just the same disability as you, all different walks of life and different disabilities as well.
Exactly.
And that community, I suppose it's been great for you.
Yeah, I found so many people through starting my podcast, people who have the same thing as me, people who have different types there's loads of different types of muscular dystrophies, and I've just kind of like found a community now, and it's so nice that like I get messages like, oh, you're actually voicing exactly how I feel. And
amazing.
It's mad that someone else is going through the exact same thing as me, because I didn't have that growing up, and I'm sure it's not something that existed back in the day, in the 70s. Take a shot every time someone says back in the day.
There's going to be a reel, right? I'm going to do it, the clock going like, back in the day, back in the day. How many times do you say it? I reckon it's about 4 or 5 times.
Definitely. But yeah, back then there wasn't a community, and like now it's so easy to like connect with people all over the world, and it's a rare condition, so it's not like I can go next door and find someone, you know, like you have to search for those people.
You've got Muslim.
You've got it right. And that's why I wanted to start the podcast, but not only to do that, but also to educate people who might know me or other people who like want to learn more, because it's just about educating as well.
I'm very happy to say that you kind of inspired us to do a podcast as well.
I got to be honest.
You were one of the first people who we knew who did one, and we were like, oh, that's a really good idea, and loved listening to it. And I thought, oh, we could do something, obviously not in the same niche.
You could talk about disability.
Yeah, imagine me and Jake, we're going to talk about something we have known nothing about, which is basically every podcast anyway. I don't even know what I'm doing, but no, you inspired us, and I'm sure you're inspiring so many people as well. And it's so lovely in it. I don't know how you feel, but we always talk about it when you hear feedback of people like, oh, you know what, we really enjoyed that, or we learned something, or you really connected with me there, or it's such a nice feeling, isn't it?
It's what it's all about, isn't it?
It's what it's all about.
This is what we do. We don't do it for the money or the fame.
It is. If you haven't seen Cerys' podcast, it's Unbalanced Podcast, available on
everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
Everywhere. Everywhere.
Just give it a Google.
Yeah, I urge you to go and check it out. I've loved that.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything else, boys, you want to talk about? I'm really happy there, I am.
I actually do have something to give you guys.
Oh, what? A gift?
A little gift.
Shut up.
For being fans.
What?
It's not money, I know I'm going in my wallet.
Oh, cheers. I'm scared as well.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, no. Am I going to cry?
It's just a little something for being fans of the podcast.
Am I going to cry?
Am I going to cry?
The little stickers. Little unbalanced, or you can keep the back on and stick it to your fridge or something.
That's lush. What's it, stickers?
Look at that.
Yeah, so you can take the back off and they can be
like... Oh, Jake, sorry, that's not...
I
That's for
thought you were
you.
giving it to me.
Look at that. Can we see it? John, Jake.
Look at
that.
Stickers is such a good idea.
Touch it.
You guys should do a How's Your Man sticker.
Yeah, I know.
God,
have we got other stuff then? No, as in not for us.
Give me some more then. What else have you got for me?
But have you bought other stuff then?
No, I just made these little stickers because I wanted one for my laptop, and a lot of my friends and family are very supportive, so I wanted to give them something. But now I give them to all my interviewees as well, as like a little thank you.
Oh, that's so lush.
But I wanted to give them to you guys as well.
Cerys, thank you so much.
Thank you, really appreciate that.
Thanks for having me on.
Pleasure. Anytime you want us to come on there and talk about anything?
No.
Talk about our disability. Because there's something fucking wrong with it.
Something wrong with me.
But no, seriously, I'm a big fan of your podcast. I hope it continues to grow.
I know.
Yeah,
It just makes so much sense that you guys have a podcast.
Give a hand for Cerys, everybody. Tidy.
Proud to be your first female and disabled.
Oh,
checking all the boxes.
Ticket boxes. Joking. Ta-da, love.
What an interesting person.
That was amazing.
Yeah, I thought that was really good.
And before we get into a bit of a debrief, I think you would have noticed that the mics were sounding pretty shit.
Trent's fault.
My fault. I clicked the wrong button on the recorder. A red light come on, but it was the wrong red light. So we didn't. We weren't recording on these.
You've got to take everything like that as just a life lesson.
As a life lesson.
You've got to, and it just applies for anything.
Yeah, and I think there was some life lessons in that chat with Cerys, wasn't there?
Absolutely.
Definitely. She's got a fantastic outlook on her life, and that disability doesn't define her.
No. But
she's a very proud person, and she's doing fantastic work to raise awareness about it. And everything she's doing, I love. I do.
And again, I know we mentioned it just before she left, but honestly, her podcast is brilliant. Unbalanced podcast with Cerys Davage, and she has amazing guests on it. And like we said, she's 28 episodes in as of now. She might have more by the time this comes out.
Yeah.
But so interesting. Very interesting people on.
I feel like she's ahead of the curve a little bit, isn't she? When she started, like I said, we followed in her footsteps to start a podcast, and I think the work she's doing is great, and I really am excited to see what she does in the future.
And me, I think it's going to be things.
Very funny as well. I thought she was.
Yeah, she's very funny.
Yeah, really funny. I laughed quite a bit.
Good banter, like
good banter.
Good banter.
So there we are, episode 4. Done and dusted.
In the books.
I hope you enjoyed this episode once again. Thanks to our sponsors. If you want windows, if you want conservatives, if you want jaws, don't go to. I'm joking.
Lloyd's Driver's good.
If you want all that and you want to learn how to drive,
well,
Lloyd's Driving School, because I'm Nuke's sponsor.
Yeah,
and Warmer Glaze Home Improvements, of course. And a big thanks to Theatr Soar.
Thank you very much. Diolch yn fawr.
Jake, thank you to you.
Yeah, thank you to you, as always, mate.
As always, but
start with a handshake.
End with a handshake. Tidy. Thanks to you for listening. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, everybody.
Until then, with proper mics next time. Until next time. Ta-da.